Brazil. React to some of the top headlines going on in the soccer world. First of all, this actually came out yesterday. I wasn't able to cover it yesterday, but Man United came out, or not came out. They didn't really say this, but like sources report that Man United are expecting Jadon Sancho and Mason Greenwood to be at preseason. They expect both of them to report back to training, assuming they have not left the club by the start of preseason, which is set to start on July 8th for them. For all the players that are not playing in the European Championship or Copa America, players are expected to report back to Carrington on July 8th. Now the club are working to find Jadon Sancho and Mason Greenwood new clubs. That's always been the case, but there is a potential chance that they will remain as United players by the deadline, which comes, and then if that's the case, they will be expected back in training. Greenwood, it's been reported that Lazio, Juventus, Napoli, and Marseille all want him. This will be the first time that he'll be training at Manchester United since 2022, the beginning of 2022, January 2022. Prior the suspension following that he was following the fact that he was arrested on the attempted sexual assault and the controlling and coercive behavior and assault. Now the case ended up being dropped a year later for Mason Greenwood, and he was able to restart his career when he was sent on loan to Getafe last season, which he had a half-decent season, suffered a lot of abuse at Getafe, but he did have a half-decent season. Now the 24-year-old, not 24-year-old, but it's clear that United, they're not going to continue with the Greenwood because of those issues. So, they're going to look as a way to get him out as soon as they can. Now, Jadon Sancho, that one is a little bit more unique one in the fact that this is a player that is a United player that was signed here. No off-the-field baggage, none of that. Just, not being able to replicate the form that he has at Dortmund, at Manchester United, then being sent back to Dortmund, where he started on a team that went to the final, actually had a decent second half of the season, especially that game against PSG. Never showed a performance to that level at United. The 24-year-old, who, as I said, he spent his last season at loan at Borussia Dortmund. He has actually not trained with United despite being on the squad since he fell out with Ten Hag in September, and he stayed on the team till January. You can't be loaned out in the middle of the season, but he still did not train with them. There are sources that say that Sancho has been offered to Barcelona and Juventus, but United want around 40 million for him, which they're not gonna get at Jadon Sancho at this point in age, especially with teams knowing, especially with the fact that United are having to offer him up, is kind of diminishes his value. Now United, they're gonna try to get these two out of there by by the deadline, the January deadline. I don't think they will, but they're gonna try to get it done, and it's interesting. It's interesting to see how the situation goes. Antoine Griezmann. There's potential talks about him not having a diminished role at the European Championship going forward for France. You look, France, they were played a main starting lineup against Poland, and they went with their first team. Upamecano, Saliba, Theo Hernandez, Joel Koundé, Tchouameni, Kante, Rabiot, Dembele, Mbappe, but there was no Griezmann that was not in this game. Instead, it was Bradley Barcola. And it's interesting because at first, I'm trying to think, whoa, what is going on here? Then maybe you're saying, oh, he's just giving the older guys, or one of the older guys, rest. But N'Golo Kante is still playing in this game, who happens to be of the similar age range of Griezmann. So you're thinking, that is Antoine Griezmann, is this a sign of things to come? Has he been disappointed in Griezmann's performance for France at this European Championship? He did miss a few opportunities in that Netherlands game, in both games, honestly. two huge missed opportunities in that 0-0 draw against Netherlands. And it's clear, the way Deschamps plays, the way France play under Deschamps, is clear they need somebody that's clinical, because they're not a team that creates a boatload of opportunities that completely dominate a game. They're a team that wins on moments. But and he's been and he has had a goal drought for France. He scored only two of his in the last 30 games that he's played for France. He's only scored in 2 games, which is not a good form at all. It's a huge goal drought that he has with France. Yeah, it's interesting to see whether or not he will be in that starting lineup as they take on Belgium. Griezmann did come out in a presser saying that he didn't come out in a presser, but in a report that came from L'Equipe, he was irked. That was the word used, irked about the decision, and that he was a little bit that he was disappointed and frustrated by the choice, which really kind of proves to me that this is not a resting situation, that this is one of Deschamps' choice. He also said he doesn't believe that he's suffering physically from the amount of games and that he didn't need to be rested. That's what it's like reports are saying from L'Equipe. But yeah, it's just an interesting situation that Deschamps has. He really does trust his players. He really does have faith in the guys that has done it for him. When you look at his reluctancy to go to Saliba until up to this European Championship, how reluctant he has been. But yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting to say the least. I'll be very interested to see if he's starting against Belgium. The U.S. Soccer Federation has came down and condemned to racist abuse going against the players after the loss to Panama. You saw Folarin Balogun, what he posted, some nasty, evil comments from some so-called fans. I haven't, Wea, he's also been a target of abuse because of that red card, and other members. And the U.S. Soccer Federation came out in a statement saying it was deeply disrupted with the racist comments made online. It's really unacceptable this day and age. What's going on? The U.S. Soccer Federation also came out and said there's also absolutely no place in the game for such hateful and discriminatory behavior. These actions are not only unacceptable, but also contrary to the values of respect and inclusivity that we uphold as an organization. Or the USF said they will also offer mental health services to any player or staff member that requests it. There's also a governing body of the Copa America CONMEBOL that they have reported that this abuse too, which I don't know. It's interesting the fact that what can CONMEBOL do? This is a CONCACAF federation. How are they can really address racist fans that are racist U.S. fans? I don't understand that. What can CONMEBOL do? What sanctions do you want them to do? I don't really understand that, but they did it reported. CONMEBOL also came out in a statement saying, our organization works continuously towards the evaluation of a new culture that eradicates expression of racism, offensive content on social media, and all forms of violence or discrimination. We condemn attitudes of intolerance in every place and on every occasion, especially those hiding behind social media accounts. Look, racist abuse should never occur. It's really sad and disrupting that we're at this point in time. This is not a U.S. soccer fan issue. This is just a global issue. There's the same issues going on in Europe, and it's something that education needs to increase, and so that so this kind of things don't continue to happen. Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Soccer Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We have a great show for thank you for tuning into the GSMC Soccer Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Make sure you like and follow the show. Please remember to subscribe to the show and leave a positive review. It really does make a difference. We also invite you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram for more content updates. Thank you once again, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.